Hey guys, how's it going? I am the ConflictNerd. Hello and welcome to Extreme Home Make. Wait a minute. Hello and welcome to The Sims 3 Building AlienEarth Manor. So today we're going to be tackling the kitchen and dining area, and you know what I've realized since the last episode? Commentating interior design over and over again is actually quite the challenge, especially when you can barely see what's going on and you can't remember what's going on. Seriously, it's been a while since I actually built all of this stuff. But what you're seeing here is the initial design of the kitchen. It's going to be a joint kitchen and dining area. I thought I could do 2 rooms, but I decided against it because, well, I didn't want a separate room. I think it's nice having the dining area joined on. I like to have this image in my head of the Sims sitting around the table, shouting across the room, having a conversation with whoever's cooking dinner and setting fire to the place. It's friendly, it's an open plan room, and it worked quite well. The first challenge I had here, though, was finding the best location for the counters and the appliances. As you can see, I toyed with the idea of using move objects on to have all of the counters off to this side, but I realized very quickly that wasn't going to work. So I then went ahead and put them in front of the windows, which I didn't really like at first because it meant I had to deal with this little crevice area with that wall lamp, and I just didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't know what to put there. I mean, I had the idea I could put some art in there, I could put a statue in there, but it just wasn't gonna work. You'll see what I do with it in a little bit. But it was such a pain in the ass at the time to figure out what to do, because it was an area of room where the Sims would never be walking to. So I thought, I can put a statue in there, I can put a fountain in there. And I couldn't. The statue looks ridiculous. It really does. So what I go ahead and do here is add in some of the appliances that we're going to be using. And at this point I was realizing that, 1, I have an area of room off to the side here that's very empty, and 2, these appliances are all very cramped. So what I'm about to go ahead and do is add in some more counters. And that actually worked really well, because it filled up the room, it gave us a lot of space to work about, and it also meant we can spread out the appliances and have more smaller appliances, such as the coffee machine, the microwave, and the food processor, which are things that everyone wants in their kitchen. I mean, seriously, who doesn't want an instant coffee machine? I know I do. I would never sleep. Anyway, pretty soon we're going to be going into the create a style bit in terms of the kitchen, which was completely accidental. So I decided to go for this kind of light wood and white marble effect on the top there, which turned out to be really, really nice. It wasn't intentional at all, but I feel like it brightened the place up, but it did mean that we would need to go in and change the walls from that off-white color and red to something much more neutral, something that was less of a feature, more of a background, which is why I decided to go for this cream and white color, which worked really well for the entire room. I was toying about with the idea of having the dining area as something completely different, but it turns out that having it the same worked quite well. Of course, you need to add in some art to the walls so they're not completely boring and completely plain, but that's just a little feature. We've got a cat there, we'll name him whatever the hell you want. We've got a Spanish villa and some sunflowers. Next up, though, we had to deal with the dining area itself, which was not so much a challenge as it was fun. You know, it was as simple as putting in a table, putting in some chairs, and putting in some art, and it was really simple, but it looks really good. Because we used the same pattern that we used previously on the counters and the stools. And there on the wall you can see our adventures in Skyrim, some puppies and all that stuff. But it did turn out really nice in my opinion. I'm really, really happy with how this looked. I did sort of balls up the whole create a style thing here. I couldn't figure out what was going on and why these weren't changing. Turns out I was actually changing the stool on the other side of the room and had to go do this again. But that was fine. So any second now, you're going to see the design that I did end up going for on these table and chairs. Exactly the same as the rest of the room. It just worked so well, and I'm really happy with how this kitchen turned out. I am thrilled. Honestly, it's possibly my favorite so far. I kind of like it more than the living room. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you like best so far? Either way, folks, this has been episode 2 of Building AlienEarth Manor. I'll see you next time.